Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the stories of transformation, resilience, and personal growth that inspire actions and self-discovery. Today's guest is Suzanne Leydecker, a fierce love advocate, author, speaker, and coach. Suzanne helps women reclaim their worth, embrace their power, and build fulfilling relationships with themselves and others. Her journey in navigating sudden weight, heartbreak, and self-discovery offer powerful lessons on boundaries, personal responsibility, and saving hell yes to life. Yeah, it's really a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It's very much a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So then, what was some of the moments or challenges that shape you into who you have become today?
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to ask that question because that's yes.
Yeah,
Aro, right? Is that how I say
yeah,
your name?
yes,
Aro.
yes.
Such a nice name.
Yeah, thank you.
We go through life and we learn all these things. I wrote a book about love and money and
Hmm.
how intertwined they are. And if you go back to your family or your listeners go back to their family, they're going to realize that they learned a lot of things when they were very young about who made the money, who spent the money. Did you get money if you were nice or you did your chores or, was there any money? Was there too much money? There are so many different things and I didn't realize any of this until I went and I wrote a book about my life. And it wasn't really, it took me 11 years to write it. It wasn't
Hmm.
really going to be a memoir, which is what it turned out to be. It was just a story about all and different stories about all the things that people learn throughout their life to make them who they are. And then it turned into a memoir. And so I had the privilege of recognizing a lot of things. Right in one of the chapters, I say some people go to therapy. I wrote a book. So I got to see how my life was unfolding through the eyes of a writer, right? And for a little while, I wrote a bunch of it and then I put it down for a year and a half. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. And when I went back, I wanted to rewrite it because I'm like, oh, I don't do that anymore. And I forced myself to keep how I felt when I felt it in there so that I could see all the progress that I've made over time. And once I finished the book, then a whole bunch more stuff came up that made me to live my best life now.
Yeah.
So it was kind of unintentional, but yeah, if you ever want to learn anything about your life, go write a book about it.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, how did your experience of teaches you about importance of saying no and setting boundaries?
Well, so when I was 47, I inherited some money.
Mm.
And in the first two sentences of the book, I say, well, I didn't consciously, maybe unconsciously, get to choose whether I was born in Ross, California, where I had a father that did okay, and then he had Alzheimer's, but he left some money, or a small town in Uganda, a little tiny village. And I didn't get to say where I came. You end up where you're supposed to end up so that you learn the lessons you're supposed to learn in this lifetime. So I wouldn't end up in your shoes and you probably wouldn't end up in mine because you need the lessons that you're learning in this
Yeah.
lifetime. And I need these lessons. I needed the lesson of having a very, very difficult father who was not that nice and a mother who didn't stand up for me and learn to fight for myself as a child and throughout the course of my life. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, that was really amazing. So, in your book, A Woman on Top, you discuss our balancing love and money. What are the key lessons women can take from your stories?
Well, I know what you asked before, and it didn't really answer it. Is that so? I have these three pillars: personal responsibility,
Mm.
saying no if it's not a hell yeah, and not taking things personally. The middle one, saying no if it's not a hell yeah, does not mean that you should sit on your couch and not go out with your friends.
Yeah,
You got like we're all becoming so isolated, and you're in a different demographic than I am because I'm older than you, and obviously I'm a female. Like I think for especially, well, everybody, I was going to say, especially for young people, it's really important for you to get out and be social and not just be always on your phone. That's true for me as well because it's so easy to sit on your couch,
yeah,
eat pizza. or
Yeah.
whatever. So, but saying no when it's appropriate. So sometimes, and I know I spent a lot of time in Africa, so there's a lot of stories about people not from Nigeria because I've never been there yet, but I've been 22 times to Africa in 12 years.
Wow.
So I've been everywhere from big cities to rural communities, and I get a lot of opportunities to speak with women. And I know that in some cases, and I believe this is true in Nigeria too, a lot of times women are out earning the men now, just
Yeah.
like they are in the US. And so, there's slightly different problems that women and men have to face in Africa that we're not doing here, but there's a lot of similarities in that sometimes women think that if they want to have a successful relationship, they need to be the provider. And, men have been traditionally providing for women
Yeah.
for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you switch it up and everybody thinks they've got it all figured out. Or they don't have it figured out at all as far as there's I think sometimes women think that they can change somebody. And men generally don't like to be changed. They
Yeah.
like to be controlled. So you've got this thing that's going on right now collectively, as for all cultures, where women are giving but there's strings attached. And this is not working, in my opinion. We have to learn to, if we're going to be successful as females, to be able
Yeah.
to give generously
Yeah.
with this
Yeah. I
shift
do.
is going on in the planet. And I think that men are having a big challenge these days because, at least in the US, some women like to have the car door opened and some don't.
Yeah.
Some women like to be taken care of, and you guys don't know what to do. And I think it's just a challenging time, and that's why it's so great that my book came out 2 years ago. I just did the Audible version so people can listen to it when they're going to work, commuting. I think that there's just a lot to learn right now.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of lack of peace on the planet. People are blowing each other up at the
Yeah.
moment. Hopefully, we're all going to survive it. But to me, peace begins at home. So the only place that I can do anything really impact what's happening in the world globally, especially in the Middle East right now, is to work on myself and
Yeah.
letting myself be as good as I can be and learning, back to your point, learning all the lessons. I did learn a lot by writing a book, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And I'm a much better person because of it. And I mean much better in the fact that I'm much happier.
Yeah.
I don't take things
Amazing.
personally and don't say yes when you mean no. Don't, I mean, I think goes vice versa, both ways for men and women. I talk a lot about women who are controlling the purse strings and they say yes to everything. Oh yes, dear, whatever you want, whatever you want. And then they get mad. And then they're
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. Well, what women, I think, globally again do is that we want to make you think that we're wonderful, and we will bend over backwards to have you believe that. But then you don't really know what we want, and then we get upset about it because you don't know what we want because we didn't tell you. This is not working. Money or no
Yeah.
money. No, that's the money has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Personally,
Amazing. I think there's a whole lot of things to actually learn in here, being that, yeah, times has
yes.
changed, and the usual rules of more like of what expectation is from men has changed too, owing to times has changed, and yeah, women are working out and even earning far higher than men, and yeah, there's a whole lot of conflict here and there. So
You
what
know
are
what I'm
some?
talking about. I'm not making this stuff up, and I'm sure your audience,
Yeah.
one of the things that I want everyone to know on the planet is they're not alone. So sometimes when something happens to you, or your girlfriend dumps you, or you have a problem in your relationship, or you can't find somebody, or the list goes on, you think it's you. It's all your fault. And you're the only one that this is happening to. No,
Yeah.
you're not the only one. And we can always do things to get better for ourselves, learn from our experiences. You doing a podcast about it. That's what you do. Yes, we can always get better, but always know that everybody, you and everybody else, is doing the best they can.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Also, how do financial empowerment and self-love intersect in creating a fulfilling life?
So, one of these days, I'm going to do a TED Talk. And my TED Talk is all about how your self worth will determine your net worth.
Mm,
So, in America, at least, I think I asked somebody in Nigeria recently, you have a lottery too, right? Where people
yeah.
can go buy lottery tickets. So, if you ask anyone you know, they're going to go, oh, I just want to win the lottery. I'm going to buy that house and then I'm going to buy that new boat. And put it
Yeah.
away for the rest of it for my kids' college. So, when I inherited money, it was like I won the lottery. As I said, I didn't get to choose. I didn't really know that it was going to come. I just showed up and that's what happened. And then I had to deal with it. And so if you look at the statistics on lottery winners, which would be increasing your net worth without increasing your self worth,
Yeah.
right? All that happens is you have more money. You don't know who your friends are. You don't know how to invest
Mm,
it. So you tend to lose it all within 3 to 5 years. Most lottery winners
yeah.
lose all the money within 3 to 5 years because they don't have the wherewithal to understand what's
Mm,
going on. Let's not forget, you don't know who your friends are. So it's the same thing. You can't really trust anyone because you're there. Are they there for the money
yeah.
or are they there because they like me? I experienced some of that. And I didn't inherit a ton of money, but more than I had ever had. And the last thing, this facts about lottery winners, sometimes they kill themselves. So money is not what's going to make you happy. Happy is going to make you happy. And the way you
Yeah.
get happy is by doing four things: personal responsibility, clean
Yeah.
up your side of the street when you need it, say no if it's not a hell yes, set appropriate boundaries, especially when you go into a romantic relationship with someone. Men seem to do this way better than women. Women, we forget to say, hey, I need to go to bed by 10, and then all of a sudden we're staying up later and later, and then
Yeah.
don't take things personally. And that's really hard. It is, but it's like exercising a muscle. And I added a fourth pillar permanently recently, which is be kind to yourself and
Mm,
others. Be as kind as you can to everyone. And, sometimes it's easy to forget when somebody pushes your buttons or they cut you off in traffic. I'm sure I've driven through a lot of big cities in Africa, and I'm sure Nigeria is just as nuts as all the rest of them with cars and bikes and things and huge whatever. And
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
almost like you have better at staying calm in that kind of chaos because you're so used to it. We're like somebody cuts us off in traffic and we're like, hey, get out of my way. No, this is not helping. How do you know that person didn't have a bad day? Or
Mm,
they just found out they had cancer? Or
yeah.
I don't know, whatever. How's this all landing with you? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's going very well, and I'm enjoying all the moment. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. Taking personal responsibility, clean up, say no, and set boundaries. Don't take it too personal, and be kind
Yeah,
to others. Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
And
So
I
looking,
the be
yeah,
kind is the most important, but for me, my life changed. You asked me originally, the first question is like, what did you learn? Well, once I stopped taking things personally, even the guy cutting me off in traffic, or anytime I feel sad, mad, angry, shameful, I know I'm taking something personally.
mm,
Anytime there's not happy, joyful thoughts going through my head, and trust me, if you figure out this, which is the magic key to life, what I'm telling you, is that doesn't mean that nobody's going to not want to go in and twist and jab sometimes. Your mother or your sister or your wife or your boss or the guy in the traffic, like it doesn't mean that they're never going to come your way and you're going to sit in the
yeah,
clouds, angel. No, they're going to keep poking and keep jabbing and keep, saying things that are hurtful. They don't think they're hurtful. My
yeah,
kids me all the time. They're like, tee hee hee, it's so funny. Mommy's amazing. And
yeah,
mommy's like, I don't think that's that fun. That they pick up the things that I don't like about myself,
yeah,
and
amazing.
I have to not take that personally. Otherwise, then I get mad at them, and then they get upset, and then we waste all this time.
Yeah, so true. So true. Amazing. So lastly, looking back, what is the most powerful lessons you have learned about self-discovery, resilience, and creating a life you truly love?
Well, I mean, those four things are helping me to create the life that I love. Obviously, I think cleanliness and order. I wrote about some of these in the epilogue of my book. Hire slowly, fire quickly. Bye. Keep your side of the street clean. Know where your stuff is. I was just
Yeah.
on a podcast yesterday, and the woman was talking about financial responsibility. Know what you spend, where you spend it. If you do, one, you will probably start saving more money than
Yeah.
you are right now, and you'll be proud of yourself for doing that.
Yeah.
So, one of the other things I was like, stop looking at the neighbor's grass to see if it's so green and start watering your own damn grass.
Yeah.
So, on top of those four things, there's a lot of little things that support. But the thing that changed my life, I want to be very clear about this, is that when I learned that when somebody jabbed me in some way or made me feel bad because I wasn't smart enough or wasn't pretty enough or wasn't good enough or didn't say the right thing or whatever that is, that the more that I can practice letting go. And I had an experience where it happened the other day. My boyfriend said something that didn't sit so well. And rather than just laugh it off, I was like, well, what? I had to repair that and apologize for taking it personally. He also apologized because he said
Yeah.
something that I didn't think was very nice. So we got through it. And it wasn't as clean as I would liked it to, because I would just like to laugh these things off and say, haha, that's so
Yeah.
funny. But sometimes it hurt your feelings. So
Yeah.
it's okay if you make a mistake. Just do your best job to clean it up quickly,
Yeah.
you
Amazing.
know?
Thank you so much, Suzanne. So, from our audience who would love to read your book, what is going to be more like the takeaway reading your book?
The takeaway of reading my book, well, you're not the only one. That's for sure. And my book is very, very raw. Like, I wrote it as honestly as I possibly could. And I wrote not only, like, I wrote about how there's boyfriends in there. It's kind of sexy. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. And I think the thing that you can take from it is don't do any of this, what I did. I'm trying to help and allow people to learn from my mistakes that I'm publicly speaking about and publicly wrote about so that you don't have to do those.
Yeah.
And primarily, my book is written for women. But strangely enough, more men have read it than women. And you can get it on Amazon NI or whatever your Nigerian Amazon. It's available. It's available all over the world in English. That's the only language it's written in at the moment. But you can access it from anywhere in Africa. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Thank you
one of
so
these
much.
days I have a friend she's a famous singer in Uganda, and so we're going to do a little event down there. And it is International Women's Month, so
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Suzanne. So, Suzanne, from our audience who would love to reach out to you, to connect with you, how can they reach out to you, and
well, I
where's
have
the
a
best platform for
website,
this?
yes, which I'm sure my spelling of my last name, because it is very complicated, is in your show notes. So you can find me at SuzanneLeydecker.com. You can also put in my name in Amazon and buy a book from there if you're interested. And I also do these ongoing Substack posts. Are you familiar with Substack, Arl?
No, I'm not.
You know what it is? Substack is a place for people, writers like me, that can write short,
Yeah.
under 1,200 word things. So if anybody's interested in seeing what kind of writing you can do, read it very quickly, and there's some videos in there as well. And you just go to Substack and you can put in my name, Suzanne Leydecker, and it'll pull them up. I've written probably 30 of them, just to kind of showcase what it is that I write about and how you can take all this that I'm talking about and apply it to your love life. You can apply it to your work life. You can apply it to your life with your children, with your parents, with your families. So it makes very practical stories and how I use these pillars to live my best life. And I am
Yeah.
living my best life. I'm very
Yeah.
happy.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Your story just reminded us that, yeah, our growths often come from unexpected challenge, and that
Yeah.
embrace personal responsibility, setting boundaries, and saying hell yes to life opens the door to empowerment, fulfillment, and meaningful relationship. Yeah, it's really a pleasure and an honor have you on the
Yeah.
show, Suzanne.
For sure. Thank you very much.